Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, Paul. Hey, Guru. Thanks for the donation, Guru. I think yesterday, or I don't know what day you gave it to me. On Cash App. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Make sure you thumbs up as you come in. We're going to talk about Beyonce, the greatest artist of our time, this era. Oh, got my sound off so it won't interrupt my stuff. Mm-hmm. Danielle. Mm-mm-mm. What's going on in your life? How's your day been? Y'all ready for the weekend? I am ready for the weekend. I have one meeting tomorrow in the morning at 11 o'clock, and then I'm pretty free. I'm using this weekend to continue to write my book. Hey, Brenda. I see my shirt? It says boycott DL men and has Clark Kent and Batman. Because, he's the L and he's the L. Boycott these niggas. We're going to get started at like 7. So we're just kikiing now. Oh, man. I have a little boo that I usually hook up with. And he's trying to pressure me to hook up. And I'm like, child, I am social distancing. Oh. Oh, it's your birthday on Sunday. What is that? So you're a Leo. It's Sunday? Yeah, you're a Leo. It is Leo season. My best friend is a Leo. Her birthday was last week. Yeah, we did. We did get bad weather. It was really annoying because I was in the middle. We had a virtual conference, and in the middle of my presentation, not the meaty part, but the question and answer, my fucking lights went out because of the damn storm. I was like, what? It came back on, but I'm glad it didn't happen right in the middle of my presentation. But yeah, just the rain and lightning, stuff like that. Nothing crazy. I was like, what? Mm-mm-mm-mm. Let me tell y'all what weird shit happened to me yesterday. So, so there's this like white Latinx um, trans woman. I worked with her. She created this little conference or whatever last year, and she asked me to do it. And I asked her, was it any kind of budget? She was like, no, it's not a budget, but the way she presented it, it was it's a good little thing. So I was like, okay, I'll do it for free, no big deal, because of, you know, I just was like, I like what she was trying to do, and so I was like, okay, So that was last year, and I did it for her, and we it was a great time. It was all good. So this year, she sent me an email for another conference or whatever that is she wasn't running it. She basically they sent her to recruit people, basically, I guess, to do a presentation. And so she contacted me to do it, and I told her, well, what's the budget? If you contact me to do something, I'm going to always ask, what is the budget? What is the honorarium? What is the coins? What TS Medicine do? I'm gonna always ask what the budget is. And so when I asked her, the budget that they had just wasn't enough. And I said, that is like almost, I don't want to say offensive, but it was offensive. It's like a client calling you and saying, "Oh, I got $20 or something." It's like, what? When my rate is this. So I said, no, that's not enough for me. And so she said, well, they'll pay that, and if you do it for me, I'll pay double what they said. So put them together, it's a decent enough pay. Yes. Boycott DL me in. I'm in the process of getting some of these made, but I don't know. Because I got this one made. I love this. Um, and so I was like, okay, so what are y'all trying to get me to do? And basically, it was just basically a panel of me talking. And I was like, cool. Me talking and two other trans women talking. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I can do that. It's super easy. And so we do it, and I have a wonderful time. And the people pay me. Um, and in the process of us organizing, right before we're supposed to go on to the panel, the girl says, the white Latinx trans woman says, "Ooh, I have another project that I would like you to be a part of," and basically she was asking me to corral people to do the project. So there's a difference between asking me to be a part of something that's already organized and asking me to organize it. That requires two different layers of work. One, I just got to show up and be Diamond Styles. And one, I have to actually do the work of contacting people and convincing and having a conversation and blah, 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 blah. So when she asked me that, I'm a busy woman. I have a lot on my plate. I have a lot going on. But the project that she was having me do was it was basically to teach fucking white allies how to be better allies. Mm, I ain't I ain't really go listen to I ain't really my tea. I ain't really into that. That's very 101. And I feel like, to me, as an organizer, what do you think about it? As an organizer, I think at my age, I don't know nobody else, but just an organizer at my age and my expertise, I am here to not only to educate, but also to train younger people to. I'm gonna die. I'll be 40 next year. I'm at the halfway mark, sweetie. Based on my family history, they usually die before 80. They don't be at 100. So I'm at the halfway mark. I have to train and get younger people ready to um, pass the mantle. So that 101 stuff, give it to some younger trans woman who needs that kind of practice, who needs that kind of um, experience, so she can put that on her resume. I got tons of that on my resume. I've did 101s at Fortune 500 companies. I've done that. I've been there, done that. I'm tired of that shit. I'm trying to move on to another thing. I have that on my resume. So let me find you. So like I suggested, I said, let me find you somebody who is, somebody in my mind, I'm thinking younger, who is coming up in the ranks of activism, hey, let me pass this opportunity on to her. And so the person was like, I really would like you to do it because you're blah, 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 blah. Let me try to organize to get them, get you some coins. So I was like, okay, see what you can organize as far as the coins. And so in the time between she gets the coins, before she gives me a rate for some coins, there's a lot going on with me outside of me and her situation. Just a lot. Just just with work and interviewing people and with Marches Played and with Black Trans Women's Inc., all these kind of things. And I'm like, child, it's a lot going on. Hey, y'all. Hey, Jersey. There's a lot going on. So I'm like, she gets to call. She's emailing me and calling me. Now, the event isn't supposed to be till like late August. So she's telling me to call her. She's telling me to, she's emailing me. And so I don't call her because it's not a priority on my list right now. I'll call you sometime later on in the week when I have some time and I have some free time. Because I didn't call her in the time that she felt like was appropriate or whatever, she sends me this email saying, I don't know what happened. Did I offend you? Did I did I offend you? Did I do something wrong? If I did, I apologize and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, what? So I sent her a message saying, sweetie, you didn't offend me. I just got a lot going on. And I don't go silent. When somebody offends me, my strategy isn't to go silent. I'm going off on you. I'm going to tell you, if you offend me, I'm going to tell you directly when, what, why, and how. Immediately. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to tell you, this is all up in the email. I'm going to tell you directly when you offend me. So you didn't offend me. I'm just busy and this is not a priority right now. And, I'm just busy. I'll call you tomorrow. So tomorrow comes and something happens. What happened? That was yesterday. So yesterday I do a live and I get caught up in stuff. And so I don't call her. And she sends me a message again. And it's like this urgency. It's an inappropriate urgency. That's what I'm feeling. It's an inappropriate urgency. The urgency is annoying me. And because this is not for me, this is already something that is not paying me well. This is already something that is not just. I already feel like I'm being tokenized. It's so many things that I'm feeling, but I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. And so I get on the phone and call her. And I was like, look, so now I'm feeling whatever this urgency lets me know that I don't have the capacity to do this because I have a lot on my plate. And if you need me to be urgent, I'm not the girl for you. So when I call her, I said, all right, sweetie, I don't have the capacity to do this. And in her email, she said she had other girls to to do it with us. I was like, and the names that I saw, I was like, oh, that's perfect. You got somebody to do this with you, and I don't need to be a part of this. And so I'm like, so I'm telling her, I don't have the capacity to do this. So all right, I'm gonna I don't have the capacity to do it. So I got going on. She commits to tell me, well, what do you mean? So my ears is burning because the tone of the what do you mean already is triggering the black girl to come out of me. The hood black girl. What do you mean? And she gets to going down this laundry list of what she has going on in her life. Well, I do this, and 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 this. And I can make time. I don't care if you was Barack Obama with project after project when he was the president of the United States. If I motherfucking tell you that I don't have the capacity to do something, I don't give a fuck what you got going on your schedule. And just the fact that you come out of your raggedy motherfucking mouth to get in my ear after asking me to do something for your motherfucking ass, you come out of your raggedy motherfucking mouth and give me a laundry list of what the fuck you doing that you can make time for, that don't got a motherfucking thing to do with me. That don't have anything to do with what I have the capacity to do. So, sweetie, I don't like your tone. I don't like your tone. So before this goes in a direction that I don't want it to go, I'm going to hang up and end this phone call with you. Well, I just want you to be direct. I was being direct as fuck to you. I told you that I don't have the capacity to do it. That's as what else do I need to say? That was as direct as I could make it. I don't have the capacity to do this. End of story. Well, I just feel like I'm going to end this call. I'm going to end this call. And I just felt like this could have been an opportunity for you to get donations to Black Trans Women's Inc. And let me tell you this. When it comes to my self-care, my community does not come before my self-care. So when I tell you I don't have the capacity to do it, that means that I am putting my self-care before whatever work is. I don't put community before me. I have to take care of me to help community. I have to have my mind right to deal with the shit that I have to deal with to build community. I don't put anything before myself. I just don't. That is not, my life has been putting other motherfuckers before me. Taking care of my mama's kids. taking care of the queer community that had to come live on my couch and live with me because they ain't got a place to stay. Literally had a whole person off of YouTube come live with me for a year that I didn't even know before then. I've always done for community multiple times where I have put community before myself. I no longer do that. I no longer put community before me. I have learned the boundary of saying, this is the capacity of what I can do. This is the capacity of what, what I can deal with. And if I cannot, I think it's healthy for me to set those boundaries and say, I don't have the capacity to do this. And I don't care about how much money the potential this could be. I don't care. This has become taxing. This has become tedious. This has become overwhelming. And for the sake of my self-care, I don't care about this project, and I don't have the capacity to care. And so that means I'm not the right person for it. So I'm going to get off this phone. Have a wonderful day. And I had to delete her off all of my platforms because her tone was so disrespectful. Anybody that can go through a laundry list of what they can do, no, I don't need you to go through a laundry list when I tell you I don't have the capacity. I don't care what you have the capacity for, what you can do, how busy you are, and you made a way, blah, blah, blah. That has nothing to do with me. You may be more invested in this project than I am. However you want to do it. You doing whatever you doing has nothing to do with me. But yes, anyway. Oh, it's 70. I done talked your head off already. But I was so frustrated with her. And you so frustrated with her. Like you a whole, white passing Latinx person. Trans person. If you don't get the fuck out of my face and stop talking to me like I owe you something, I don't owe you shit. But yes, that was so fucked up to me. I was so annoyed. But anyway, let's get on to the topic. So has everybody seen Black is King? Have y'all seen it? What are your thoughts? What are what did you love about it? If you haven't seen it, I know you've been online. Have you seen what's going on online? Let's see. What should Number one, be black. Step one, give black people hella money, right? So she wants you to go handhold some white people and pat them on the back to get them to feel comfortable. Late, yes, go home. Because that's all I'm gonna say is donate and donate and donate and donate. Put people in positions of power. Donate and put people in the positions of power. Donate and put people in positions of power. Secure those positions for them. Um, so she really was asking you or telling you what you were going to do. Yeah, girl, go and get out of here. You had that. She asked, yeah, like I called her and said, oh, massa, oh, I need you to get me some work. I'm enriching your work. I'm making you look like you got black friends. Because I know you went to these white motherfuckers and said, oh, I can get some powerful black trans women who can come and talk to you about this. Oh my God, I have some powerful black trans women that can really come and tell you white folks what to do. I am the Negro Whisperer. Fuck out of here, bitch. That can be, yes, you've given so much. Sometimes, not all the time. But I've given up a lot in my life for other motherfuckers. A lot. A lot. Um, and I'm just now getting shit. Not just now. I made the change for myself. Um, I started making the change in my 30s. Like as soon as I turned 30, it started to be more. I wasn't fully acclimated. But honey, 10 years later now, almost 40, I'm fully acclimated. I don't do shit for people unless it's a benefit. Me too. I stayed up to 2. Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah, self care is important. I wanted to ask you to come and educate on Tanya's show last night, but I didn't because it wasn't your responsibility to make sense of that toxicity. Baby, I was listening. I listened to the whole thing. I listened to the whole thing. Tanya TKO. I had to stop following her because she just got toxic. She gets real, but she's Caribbean, so they have a very patriarchal, colorist, um, toxicity, homophobic toxicity, and she was just saying weird things last night. She was just saying really weird things. Like one minute she will say, "Well, trans people need to be aggressive because if they don't stand up for their rights, they'll be silent." And then the next, "Oh, you can't arrogantly put yourself in spaces and da 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 da." Like, which one is it going to be? And then, when when what I kept seeing is when trans women would come on the show and there would be some natural interruptions. Just sometimes you in a conversation where you're on the phone, your technology fucking sucks. You can't always hear when people's talking, when people stop talking, the natural pauses in people's conversation. She was blaming interruptions on, like, she was on some turf shit saying that, "Oh, you're speaking like a man, you're interrupting me like a man." But then when she would have cis women on the show who were interrupting her, she wouldn't say that that was about, some inherent manly patriarchal socialization. She would blame that on the trans women. But when the cis women interrupted her, it was none of that. It was no kind of, "Oh, you're being patriarchal." And then she has a masculine personality that interrupts people, and which I don't mind. I don't think of that as, masculine. I think of it as assertive. But you can't be sometiming. You can't say that is, and there's some truth to that, but I don't think that's always the case to everybody. Men do interrupt women a lot. There's a patriarchal arrogance that does come with that. But I don't think everybody has that, particularly queer people, trans people. I don't think everybody has that problem, especially people who have transitioned early, who don't have they ain't fucking Caitlyn Jenner or somebody who lived with a wife and kids for fucking 40 years. I think they try to lump us. We have all different experiences, and when it comes to social conditioning, why I believe in some instances that can affect you to the extent that she was talking about. Get the fuck out of here. She was weird. She was all over the place, and then the people who were calling in were fucking weird. The trans woman was weird. Both of them. There was a white trans woman that called in. She didn't have the range. Everybody that called in and talked to her about it, they didn't have the educational range to talk about shit. They were weird. Like, this white trans woman would call, and it was like, "Girl, shut up. Get her off the phone." Then there was a black trans woman that would call that was talking about getting her penis cut off at 6 and then transitioning at 9, at 19. And her story was all over the place, like it wasn't real, or it just was weird. And then everybody in them comments was being weird. It just was like, this is crazy. This is a Twilight Zone. And they were trying to all kind of weird ass fucking biology shit, fake biology shit. It just was like, what is going on? I didn't understand. I watched it because it felt like a train wreck. 85th South Show. I never heard of 85th South Show. Right, she was all over the place. It was very disappointing because I enjoyed some of her content. Yeah, I stopped listening to Tanya TKO. Tanya TKO is like men. Like, she's a type there. She's a type of cis woman that it's the same it's the same when I talk about when I talk to George Lee, consciously on Instagram. It's coming out Thursday, and I asked him. I was like, it's like fucking following a landmine. When you talk to when you follow woke black men, like, they'll be you like, oh yeah, they're talking that shit about race. Like, you like, oh my God, they have a racial analysis that's exactly like I feel. Like, they woke, they speaking the truth, like they speaking truth to power, blah blah blah. And then seconds later, When they get to talking about gender, woo, it's a landmine. Blow you up in the face. Like, oh, this is harmful. This is a man who doesn't have a healthy analysis of gender oppression. And so, yeah, you can analyze racial shit, but you don't have any ideas of patriarchy. You don't have any idea of how to dismantle gendered violence, gender oppression. Like you haven't analyzed that. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just really, really weird and strange. And so sometimes there are cis women who talk that shit about gender, and you like, oh yes, 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 yes. And then they got a racial analysis and they got a gender analysis. But when it comes to queer folks and trans folks, it's like, ooh, it's a landmine. And they'll blow you up and you'll get hurt because you think you're safe. You're like, oh, I'm tipping through this woke field of great racial and gender analysis. And then when we get to the queer talk, blew up. Because you thought you were safe, girl, but you was not safe. You got this transphobic bitch who has no analysis about gender, no education about gender other than what is rooted in white supremacy and homophobia and transphobia. Some old people kept bringing up 1970 as studies where I'm like, y'all bringing up studies from the 70s? The 70s, they just had rights. Black folk just had rights fucking 10 years. And y'all bringing up studies from that long ago? Get out of here. Fuck Tiny, she tried it. So I think there's tons of cis women. I know tons of them that are great, like that I trust because we're constantly in community, and they have proven over and over again that their analysis about gender and their care about queer folks is amazing. So I can't really say all cis women are the same, but I'm talking about that type of specific cis woman who is trash. But you have a more absolute thinking about cis women. You have an absolutist thinking about Black men. And so I don't have an absolute thinking about anything. I don't even trans women. I think trans women are generally okay, but there's some trash ass trans women who don't have an analysis of, gender that I think is healthy. And so I don't think all Black men are bad. I don't think all cis women are bad. I don't think all gay men are bad. I don't think all white people are bad. I don't speak in absolutes in that kind of way. I just don't speak in absolutes. I know that there are great cis women who are doing the work to dismantle transphobia, who are doing the work to dismantle homophobia, who are doing the work, just like I'm doing the work to dismantle all the shit that I got going on with me. There are people who are doing the work that you can trust. It's not just they're not just generally trash. I think there are some that are out here. Thank you, Prince. Thank you so much. Thank you, sweetie. So we're supposed to be talking about Beyonce. I think I might have to change the name of this because now we're going into a lot of other stuff. But yeah, she was weird. She was but I think that I don't think that that's a rule though. I don't think that that's a rule. I think that there are more allies in cis womanhood than there are complacent. I think there are more complacent people than people who are anti. You see what I'm saying? Like I think there's more people who really don't give a fuck about the trans topic at all. I don't care. Let the people do what they want. I think that's actually the rule. I think the complacency is just like white folks. I think white people who are racist, who are like, I hate Black people, I think that they're a small percentage over here. I think the big percentage to me is the one who are complacent, who don't really want to do anything about it. They don't, it's not like they actively are just like, oh my God, I hate black people. It's just like they're complacent about the systems and the structure. They're just like, I'm just going with the flow, trying to get married, trying to trying to get my kids in school, in a great school, trying to be a soccer mom, trying to be a great mom. I'm not even thinking about racism at all. I'm just kind of going with the flow. And I think that is the rule. I think complacency is the rule. I think there's a lot of women who literally don't think about transness. They don't think about it in any terms. They don't care. Like, we are a minority that they don't even think about. I like to hear you talk about other stuff. You can do Beyonce later. Let the woke community tell you it's the LGBT community that is rooted in white supremacy. Yeah, we don't, and I don't even consider that the woke community. I consider that like hotepery. Hoteps are like that, and I think that is a lot of stuff is just rooted because people don't know. They don't know. They don't read. They don't. They don't try to. I think one thing about like my little brother. My little brother is amazing at this. Um, my little brother will call me and be talking some bullshit, and I'd be like, "Nigga, that's some patriarchal weird shit. What are you talking about?" Like, he'll call me and talk about something and be like full fledged in this weird ass mode, and I'll say something, and I'm like, Rakim, think about this. Think about this. Go read this article. Go read this book. Go read da 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 da. My brother will go read shit, go find some more shit, send it to me like, well, what about this? And he will explore the whole thought process and then come back and say, I didn't even think about all of this. This is how I feel about it now that I know this. And he's brilliant in that sense where he's really open to learning things, exploring, and there'll be some things that he'll stand his ground on and say, I just don't, that what you sent me don't actually move what I'm saying, and this is why, and blah 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 blah. We can go back and forth on it, and I think people don't do that enough. I think people don't. God, I can't remember this statistic, but there's a book called How to Be an Anti-Racist. And I'm just giving this as an example. I wish I knew the statistic. I hate that I'm bringing it up without knowing it. But there was a statistic about light-skinned and dark-skinned men and their upward mobility. Yes, that's what it was about. And some dynamic of their upward mobility. And what the statistic found in the context of, because the conversation was about colorism, what the statistic found is that in women, colorism benefited light-skinned women. But in this particular arena that they were talking about, dark-skinned men outperformed light-skinned men. So, and it was a surprise statistic because we thought in the context of colorism that light-skinned men would outperform dark-skinned men. But statistically, that wasn't the real statistic. The statistic was dark-skinned men outperformed the light-skinned men. And to me, as a person who started the iteration of my life as a light-skinned little boy, I have always had this thing in my mind that the separation in colorism affect women more than men, because I would see very distinctly the difference in how colorism affect women and how, yes, it benefited light-skinned women. But there's some strange thing that happens in community with light-skinned men and dark-skinned men. There's some strange dynamic, which is not always it doesn't mean that colorism doesn't exist in between men. It just how it manifests is a little bit different in men than it is in women. The stark difference and the stark privilege is a much wider range in women than it is in men. There's something about men being dark that gives them a masculine privilege, that gives them more male privilege based on their darkness, because it is seen as the masculine thing. It is seen as more virile. And so in the world of patriarchy, that can benefit them more. So right, because being light-skinned as a man, you are seen as effeminate and weaker. So if I didn't read, so I bring that up because if I didn't read and I didn't go look at the studies and go look at stuff, I wouldn't even. let's go here, since we on Beyonce, since supposed we talking about Beyonce. So I don't think it's I don't think anybody in their right mind could say that one of the reasons why Beyonce is because of her light skin privilege. Okay. Since we talk about just nuances and privilege, I also feel like I think that one of the reasons why Whitney Houston is because of her body. Because of her body, how her body is, I think that because she fits that more, but it happened with Diana Ross too. The privilege of having that type of body, that kind of white girlish, up and down, no kind of shape body, is the same reason why she got into that. She was a model before. It was the same reason why she was elevated to where she was, you know, and the reason why that gave her the same amount of access to that kind of upper echelon stardom. Because I don't think that if she had a different type of body, she would have gotten to the plateau that got into the peaks that she was. In the same way that Beyonce, I don't think she would have got to the peaks if she wasn't light skinned. Beyonce with her body and being dark, child, we wouldn't know no Beyonce. And that's one of the nuances that people don't kind of skip over. What is futurism also, do you think? Absolutely, that's one thing too. But I think that that's everybody. When we think about Patti LaBelle and Diana Ross. Diana Ross had those wave model-esque, small features that not super white people small, but not like Patti LaBelle. Even though we knew Patti could sing her under the table, but Patti had the lips, Patti had the nose, Patti had lips, so much so she went and got a nose job. So yes, futurism is another thing when we talk about who else has think about the models who are Black famous models. They all look like white girls dipped in chocolate. They don't look like, West African Black people. They look, they look like East African. They look like, look at like Iman and you know, we're there's some nuances that's happening now in this era. There, yes, in this era, absolutely, we have the Lupitas, we have the Adok Weck, Alec Weck, and you know what's the other girl name? We have some nuances now because we're shifting, we're having a culture shift, and hopefully it's not fleeting and trendy, but there's a culture shift that's happening. That's, you know, but in the 80s, pre pre 2000s, really pre 2010s. Um, you know, the models look like black. They were black, but they looked like white girls dipped in chocolate. That was the ones that were famous. When we talk about Tyra Banks, when we talk about Naomi Campbell, when we talk about Iman, they don't have, their features are small. They're not full. Naomi got some lips a little bit, but they're still in that range of, you know, that range of regular. It wasn't until Alec, really, Alec Weck, that you really saw that kind of, and then she was at the, how long she was like that main. It was a long time before we saw multiple versions of Alec Weck, that dark skin, full lip, full nose kind of. Now we're seeing multiple ones. We're seeing multiple versions of that. They all had surgery. I know whatchamacallit had her tits done. They've been selling stuff like, although I'm a dark skinned woman, I've experienced color futurism from people outside of my race more so than racism because I don't have the typical African American features, African black features. Mm-hmm. Because even the dark skinned girls who were, think about the dark skinned girls who came to fame in the 90s or the 80s. Um, Look at how they look. Look at Tatiana Ali from Fresh Prince. Look at Nia Long. Look at, like, they had small features. Like, remember Nia Long in Friday? Small features. They were dark skinned chocolate girls, but their features were small. I'm so upset that Summer Walker got her nose done. I think she looks sickening, but it's like, ooh, you gotta look sick. You gotta get your nose done to look sickening. And then that's the whole femininity thing. That's the whole femininity is smaller features, more delicate features, more white features. So it's like automatically, if she does it, she's gonna look better because she went closer towards, look better because she went closer towards Eurocentric beauty. And so it's like, ugh. And so when I see her, I'm like, oh, bitch, you look sick. But then in myself, I'm like, God, is she sickening because her nose is smaller? Oh, she does look. She looks like Naomi Campbell. Like now, like when I see videos of her, there's a video of her, a new video of her, and I'm like, oh my God, she looks like Naomi Campbell. And I think Naomi Campbell is sickening. So like, but we just talked about how Naomi Campbell, they all look like white girls dipped in chocolate. So it's like, even within myself, my initial reaction is yes. But then I'm like, why is this better? Why is this Yeah, when I seen her on that video with Nikita Dragon, is that her name? Nikita Dragon? And that she was doing that little video wire and she put her face on the screen. I was like, yes, bitch, you look sickening. And I'm thinking, at first I was thinking like it was just how she was painted. But then when I seen other videos, I was like, oh, she got her nose done. I was like, oh. So it's like, oh, you were looking beat. But the fact that I'm thinking you look beat because you got your nose done, it's like, oh gosh. I gotta dismantle this stuff. But yeah. It's so complicated. Yeah, but yeah, it's many phenotypes, but we know there's a Eurocentric beauty that is a standard, and smaller is a part of that. Smaller, less prominent features go more towards whiteness than it does blackness. This reminds me of your thoughts on Eurocentric beauty and the realness categories of balls. Yeah, realness is getting really antiquated. You know, I'm not. If I was a bossing girl, you know, I would be trying to dismantle that within that system. But I'm not a bossing girl. That's what they have to work on that. But realness is just quintessentially rooted in cis heteronormativity, and if we're making that the standard, we're if we're making cis heteronormativity the standard of look, then we are saying how we look is wrong. We are putting the pressure on trans people to not just trans people, queer people, period. Like any type of androgynous, any type of I need to look like a man. Any type of queer feminine men that are not fitting the cis heteronormative man trope, if you're getting chopped, we're saying that us being queer, us being anything but cis heteronormativity is wrong. It's wrong and not as good and not up to par. And I don't know. It feels weird. It feels. It feels antiquated. It feels like yes, we needed it. We needed it back then. We needed to blend because of the danger that it posed, the imminent danger, the the inevitable danger that it posed. And so we needed it. It's like when black folks needed to show white people that there was a that we could be just not just like them, but we could be refined like them. Because the rhetoric was that we were savages, we were beastly, we were dumb, we were ignorant, we were just not we were subhuman. And so people like Frederick Douglass got a hold of a fucking camera and did a whole photograph campaign with him and other black people dressed to the nines and dressed in nice clothes, clean and refined, and dispersed all those pictures. It was like image activism, exactly what Beyonce is doing with this new project, bringing it back to that. It was like an image activism. He was trying to show that black people could be just as refined as white people. And at the time, it was powerful because of what it was fighting up against. It was powerful in the moment because the rhetoric was we were less than. And so let's do this to show you that no, we can be just as refined, just as dignitarian, and it was needed. But it gets to a point, if you follow W.E.B. Du Bois, if you follow his journey in his academic canon, you see how he grew out of that mind thinking, how it is actually racist for us to think that we to play into that. It's actually for us to feel like we have to prove it. Our actions are responding to that. We had to have debutante balls and do the colorism thing and the paper bag test, and because we had to prove that we are that. But it gets to a point where it's like, oh, we don't have to prove shit. We know that we are. We know that we are just like you, and that's a rat race. That's a hamster wheel. That's if you're gonna keep moving the line. If I say I can learn how to read like you, okay, yeah, you learned how to read, but can you do this? I'm gonna have to keep proving to you over and over and over that, oh, I can dress like you, I can read like you, I can do math like you, I can do surgeries like you, I can invent things like you. I'm smart. I can create the cotton gin. I can create peanut butter and all the things that come with peanut butter. I can do all these creations, and I keep have it. That's a never-ending cycle. Because if they don't want to see you as human, they don't want to see you as equal, they're going to always give you these things. Oh, you want to vote? Well, you need to take literary, what is called literacy test. And we're going to count, you got to count these jelly beans in this jar. You got to get the right number. And they're going to constantly make you jump through these loops. And it's never going to be ending. So I think for us, I think what for us, what we have to in the ball scene, that has to stop being the standard. Like, because if we're trying to let people be free and be who they want to be, however they present, how are you gonna, how is we needed that in the 80s? Yes, because blending gets us in the door. But we're trying to get out of that. I thought. Now, for me, I come from a different era where that also was still important. 90s it still was important. But I thought we're going for the future of our kids, and when I say kids, not necessarily biological, but the kids coming up after us are the next generation that we are going to rear, that we're going to raise when their parents kick them out. Or when their parents don't have the capacity to teach them about trans life or queer life, we're going to have to raise them. We're going to meet them at the clubs. We're going to meet them at the support groups. We're going to meet them. So we're going to raise them. And so the community that we're raising, our kids that we're raising up, aren't we creating a world where they can be free? And they don't have to be, unless they want to, they don't have to conform to cis heteronormativity. Like, isn't that the safest space? Like, isn't that the goal? And if it's not, okay, it may not be everybody's goal, but it's my goal. So they don't have to, even if you're not passable. What is Jack and Jill? Explain Jack and Jill to me so I can know what that is. Um, even if they're not passable, they can have a job, they can thrive and be what they want to be. Because if we're still creating a world where you have to be passable in order to be able to live and survive, what are we doing? Like, what are we? That doesn't make sense to me. That's weird. Oh, I got you. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. And some people need that. Some people like all that debutante shit, all that. Even like the Divine Nine in college, even in you know, Greek organizations. That was rooted in layers of classism. All of that history was that. I feel hypocritical speaking against the gender binary, yet assimilating to it. And there, when you're trying to dismantle these systems, it's gonna feel hypocritical. I'm one of those people. I'm a binary girl, um, but I see the value in dismantling that. Zaya Wade would be very much Jack and Jill tease. What do you mean by that, Ari? Um, yeah, I feel I there's a lot of things that I'm like, let me so think about it. Okay, so they're going to be think about the 60s, the 50s and the 60s. There were some black people who were like when SNCC and all those organizers was doing sit-ins and shaking stuff up to change the culture. There were some black people, just like it's black people now, when we see them protesting, what is tearing up your neighborhoods gonna do? What is oh my god, why are you tearing down buildings? What is that gonna do? Fuck out of here. Um there was some black people back then that was like, oh my god, y'all shaking it up, um, messing with the good white folks, and they gonna start killing us when we can just live this way and not, you know, um, you know, just live this way and and not shake anything up. Just leave it how it is. There's some leave it how it is black people, and they're never gonna grow out of that, and they never were going to grow out of it. They live safe. They didn't see. They might not like racism, but they don't want to shake anything up and create any kind of danger or any kind of. And that's not. I don't want to say that's necessarily a bad thing, but what I what I hate is when people try to stop people who want to shake it up. And so there are going to be some people who are not in that time who don't want to shake it up, who want everything to stay the same because they're happy being sharecroppers. They're happy, we are nice. Our white people are nice. They don't try to lynch us. They don't try to do nothing. As long as we give them this disproportionate amount of our crop, disproportionate amount of the money from the crops, when even though they hustling the fuck out of us, we just gonna leave it like this because at least because you got to remember they're coming from the trauma of knowing people who were lynched and hanged and da da da. The fear of that, the literal trauma of oh my god, like they out here wearing people out. So we just trying to have it nice. So it's not. I'm not judging them, and I'm not saying that that is a bad thing, but they're just like this is how my mindset is. I'm coming through that trauma and I'm working through it, but I don't want to shake up the white people because I know what that looks like. I know what that looks like. So you young people who see who haven't been through the trauma of seeing people hanging from trees, and y'all see the problem with racism, and y'all are trying to fix it and shake it up. I can't get there. I can't get to that point because of how I was raised and what I've been through. But it does need to change, and the young people are changing it. In my mind, that's how I feel about the binary. I feel like I come up through an era where where the binary was important. I think I'm on the last tail end um of where the binary where passing was important. Not that it's starting to be different now. But it was different. And I remember a trans woman that that detransitioned, that I met when I was 13. I talked about it on Marsha's Play, very first episode, Daddy's Lessons. And she said, y'all have a different area level of freedom. I had to detransition because when I was coming up in the 70s, butch queens would get mad at me and call my job and spill my tea, and I would be homeless. I wouldn't have a job. Trans women will be calling my job, or with generations coming up after us. I feel like they, I just feel like I'm not going to get to the point. I don't have enough life further down the line for me to get to the point where I'm just going to totally dismantle within myself the binary. I don't think that. But I see the good. I see the good in what the young people are doing in blurring the line so that people can be free from that and be whatever they want to be. Let me see. Ziaway would be very much that. Let's see what y'all say. I guess Ziaway was born into financial privilege. Absolutely, yeah, of course. She was born in financial privilege. Ziaway doesn't need Jack and Jill. Her success is secured by her father. She doesn't need nothing but her daddy's money to make it. Yeah, she's coming. She's coming in the world with and she's coming into the world and transits with a whole different type of problems. Some people don't want to shake it up because they are benefiting from the capitalism that comes with white patriarchy, i.e., Herman Cain. Brandon, I don't think that's always the case. There's certain people like that, but there's a theory called the captive maternal. I want you to look that up. Dr. Joy James talks about it. There's a theory about the captive maternal. I can't teach you about it because I'm just now getting into it. But and captive maternal isn't gender. It could be a man or a woman, but it kind of describes a person who is constantly on the bottom, just trying to work and serve people who are marginalized. Not necessarily a woman, not necessarily a man, but anybody who is just trying to make folks survive. And she goes in a lot of detail about the captive maternal. So I don't want to go into details because I'm still learning about it too, but that's a concept that you might want to explore because what I'm talking about in regards to people who don't want to shake it up, there are people who are in that captive maternal space who they're not being coons like Herman McCain. They're just trying to survive within the system, and they're not trying to shake it up for the sake of survival. It's not really to just coon. But check that out. A lot of older Black people are still traumatized from are really old, not really old, but I think those people, because I'm thinking about let me do some time. So people who are in their 80s, let's see. So people who were in their 80s were born in 1940. So they are the children of people. I think they don't got, I hate to be morbid like this, but they don't got much time to live. But most people are not in their 80s. So people who are in their 50s were born in the 70s. So we're coming up on the time where that direct connection to that trauma is almost fading out. Because if you're 50 years old, you were born in the 70s. If you're 60 years old, you were born in the 60s. So the 60s, like 60s to like 80, between 60 and 80, that those generations, 60s and 70s and 80s, people who in that age bracket, they are the ones who more than likely have a direct connection to somebody who was traumatized by it directly. They could have seen they could have been raised by somebody or grew up around somebody who knew somebody who had been lynched. Like anything from 60s, but I'm thinking about 50s. Anybody 50 and under, I'm trying to think in the old school way of lynching. They might have saw people getting killed by the cops or shit like that. But I'm talking about like the old way of lynching. Somebody in their 50s, my mama's era, who was born, my mother was born in 64. My mother came into my mother was in the desegregation stage where like I don't remember, my mother never talked about, like my mother was born in 64. She never talked about separation, like water fountains and shit. Like that kind of Jim Crow. My mother comes into the era, my mother came into the era where they were sick, they were integrated. Yeah, they were integrated. So I think we're coming in the people who have a direct connection to that trauma are dying out. Yeah, I think. Mm, I feel like a lot of people view trans as an aesthetic now. You see people with full on beards and dresses calling themselves a woman. No gender dysphoria whatsoever. Hmm. I don't I don't see that often enough to be. I can't say I've never seen it because I have, but that's such a small percentage that I don't think that they're affecting culture in the way that people act like they're affecting culture. Like somebody running around being a woman with a beard. I've seen some non-binary people who claim it non-binary, but claiming to be a woman with a beard. I've probably seen that only 2 times in my life, and they were serious. Like they were in person. Yeah, about 2 times. Somebody playing like that on fucking internet doing memes and shit just to go viral. I've seen that. But 2 times in my life have I met a trans woman with a beard talking about I'm a woman. Yeah, I don't think that's, I think that's such a small percentage that I can't really analyze that. And are you one of those, Jody? Are you one of those people who feels gender dysphoria is a criteria for transness? Because I am not. But I know some people who think like you in that regards. I am not. Because I think there's a spectrum of gender dysphoria. I think there's some people who they are on the verge of suicide because of their dysphoria, because they can't even look in the mirror, they can't even look down, they can't even wash their private parts because they have such a strong gender dysphoria. And then there's the total opposite. You see what I'm saying? There's like the extreme, and then there's the total opposite of that, where it's light or almost non-existent dysphoria. I think there is a spectrum of how that affects people. Hello, welcome to the chat. Please hit the like button. Yes, please hit the like button if you are enjoying the conversation. Um, is it only me? My Wi-Fi acting up? No, it's not, Ari. The video is going in and out for me. It should be cool now, right? Um, yeah, slavery wasn't that long ago, Brandon. It wasn't but you see, he's 88. So most of the people who were connected to slaves, we're coming in about 20 years. They're going to be all gone. Shoot, like shit, 10. Based on the average life expectancy of people. So about 10 years from now, they're gonna be out of there. Um, no. We are in. Yeah, they're still here, but they old. They're older, and so they're about to be up out the party. I'm trying to think of like none of my. I'm trying to think of who was the slave. Let me go to my um, ancestry DNA tree because that's how I can tell who was the slave, honey. Um, on my daddy Theo was not because he was born in 1907. I know. I didn't get to meet him. He died before. He died before I was born. He died in '76, but he was born in 1907. So he wasn't a slave. That's my great grandfather. Um, no, my great great grandfather. And then we have my York Mathbeth was my granddaddy Theo's father, who was born in 1870. So he was born free in 1965, but he was a sharecropper. I know he was a sharecropper in Mississippi. So it was his father that was born a slave. That was Daniel Macbeth. Yeah, so Daniel Macbeth is the one that born a slave. He was born in 1839, 1914, and he died in 1914. So he died free, but he was born a slave 1839. On my um, on the father's, let me see about my mother, my grandmother's side. So my family are Macbeths and Spivey. So Terrell Spivey, he was the one who was born free, but this is also he's the one that was biracial also. So Walter Spivey, he was the one born free, 1877. Terrell Spivey was not born free. He was born in 1859 in Mississippi. And his father, who was the white one, who was a Freeney. So Freeney's, if you in where I'm from, where my family is from, in the Lee County, Mississippi era, they are the Freeneys was the white side of the family that owned the area, and they had babies with you know the black folks. um, and fortunes, blood saws, fortune, blood saws, spivies, and Macbeths. So yeah, these are like greats. I don't understand how you can be trans without gender dysphoria. What's the point of transition if you don't have dysphoria? Why would you want to inject yourself with hormones and surgeries with no diagnosis? Um, do you think I'm trans? Do you think I'm trans or not? Like, I mean, hey Rakim. Do you think I'm trans? I haven't been diagnosed. I haven't went to a doctor and they told me that I was diagnosed with gender dysphoria. So if I don't have the diagnosis, am I not trans? Am I not trans to you? And to me, dysphoria is, and like I said a few minutes ago, it's a range of, um, it's a range. I think it's a range of, right, but I don't feel like I have dysphoria. I think I'm trans. I don't feel like I have dysphoria, and I don't feel like I had dysphoria to the extreme. I don't. I think there was some dysphoric. I think there was some dysphoria, but not to the extreme that I hear other trans people talking about it. Not to the extreme. The way I hear some trans folks talking about it, I'm like, mm, I didn't feel that. I just, I this is now this gets real weird, but psychology, like if you talk to black um, mental health professionals that have a racial analysis, they know that this is a system that is literally rooted in white supremacy. And so I can't, these rules of what trans is from psychologists that are racist and who have blamed people, put in asylums for crazy house and put in nut houses for thinking crazy and blah 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 blah. That's the history of this system. So the rules of what things are, I can't be totally invested in it, and I can be a little bit, but I can't be totally invested in every single thing and not in a way to where I can't budge and move and grow my theories when it comes to um, mental health and um, anything that had to do with mental health, anything that had to do with nuances in um, mental health. So I can't. I don't think I have the level of dysphoria that even in my younger years that some people have. Like when I looked in the mirror when I was 11, 12, 10, before I actually started changing, I wasn't disgusted by my body. I wasn't disgusted by it. It wasn't. It wasn't a sense of. Um, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate nothing. I hate nothing. When I learned about transness and I knew that there was another possibility, when I learned, and I didn't even call it transness. I had met people. I had saw people. I was like, I remember I went to the club. I was really really young and I snuck in the club and I met. Um, I started meeting people, and and seeing people like on the bus. I had a job um, when I was like in my early 13. And I remember distinctly being on the bus and hearing these girls talk, and they were trans, and hearing them talk, and I'm like, oh. Then I met my friend Strabella, and she was a boy, and she started talking about the possibility of being a girl, and I'm like, what? And I started meeting queer boys, and I'm like, hmm. So this is what's going on. Like, I'm seeing all of these possibility models, and I'm having these feelings of, this isn't me. This isn't me. Hmm. Hmm. Once I start seeing the possibility of what I could do, prior to that, I can't tell you for me myself that I had a bunch of things that I thought. I had a bunch of things that I'm like, I remember at a young age feeling like something is not right. Something, uh, but because I didn't know the possibilities of what I could do, I'm just kind of going with the flow. My mama told me I was a boy, so I'm a boy. But it didn't feel right. I can't say that I looked at my body and was like, "Oh, I'm not supposed to have a pee pee." No, I didn't do that. That wasn't my journey. My journey was my people told me I was a boy. I'm just regurgitating what they said, but I know this doesn't feel right to me in my spirit. And I don't know language. My mama didn't have a language. I didn't have any books. My nobody there was literally nothing around me that reflected transness or anything about it. And so my mother would say, I would say things like, I'm not supposed to be, a boy. But I don't know what, you know, it was just very you a boy. It was not. And so, okay. And that's what it was. It wasn't, I didn't look in the mirror. I didn't have like the Jazz Jennings experience, but I didn't have the support like Jazz Jennings. It was, you're a boy and that's what you are. And it wasn't until I got to 12, 13 years old where I saw possibilities of, oh, I literally can live in a way that aligns with what I'm thinking. I didn't have somebody harming me. In my younger years, there was nobody, my uncles punching you, stop acting like a faggot, stop acting like a girl, shit like that. But my mom was the center, and I was mostly with my mom, and she was loving. There wasn't like in the moment like a hate, or I was just kind of free. I can, like, if y'all remember the interview with my mom, she was like, I could run around my house and be free. If I wanted to put the towels on my head and be girly and do all that kind of stuff, she let me do them. So as a child, I didn't feel like I wasn't free to do it. I didn't feel that kind of restraint of my queerness until I went to school. When at home, I was able to. I remember I would watch. I don't know if I know y'all remember the movie, but the movie Sparkle. I would tie my hair up, and my mother would laugh, and my mother would, she would tell me to do it. My mother, like, I would be giving him something he can feel, and I have t-shirts around my head, towels around my head, curtains around my body as my gowns, and my mother wouldn't whoop me or do anything like that. When I'm at home, I was able to be free. So there was nothing telling me, there was nothing in my particular environment that said, that was a reminder, you can't do this. Like, you can't, until school time started to happen, where it was a distinct separation between boys and girls. When I would go to school, we had to go in two different lines. That is when I started to notice that, okay, you have to be this boy thing. Even though you are fully feeling like you should be here, you have to do this This is what you have to do. There was no options. And so that's what I did until I started to learn that there was another option. And that was about 12 or 13. And once I learned that there was another option, my goal, then it was no longer I'm figuring it out. My goal was to revolve my life and my identity around what I felt on the inside. But it wasn't rooted in hate of my body. It wasn't rooted in a hate, in which to me is a distinction of dysphoria. I didn't have a disdain for my body. And so, but I knew now, now that I'm making the decision to live my truth, I have to do certain things to my body in order to blend. You see what I'm saying? I had to do certain things to blend. And so my goal was to get implants. My goal was to get on hormones, because as I'm going through this process of learning and hearing people and seeing what I can do and the options that I can take, they said, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And that's what I went into the process. So I went into the process of wanting to get implants, and get on hormones. And I didn't get on hormones until I was 16. Yeah, so let's see. All that extreme dysphoria is unhealthy and needs to be worked through. A lot of trans women need to let go of self-loathing for not being safe. My patience is wearing thin. Yeah, I just didn't have that. I didn't have a. I think I just put it on my mom. My mom raised me to be very confident, to love myself. In my formative years, my mother was like, you're beautiful. You can do whatever you want to do. You can be whatever you want to be. You can have fun. There was no abuse coming up from my mom about gender weirdness, like being queer. Um, she just didn't do it. She let me play around and be free in the house. Now I couldn't wear some dress outside. I couldn't go to the store in a dress. No, you can't do that. But in the house, I could be free and do whatever I want. Um, I did have dysphoria about knowing my body was producing testosterone. I don't have I don't have crippling genitalia dysphoria that affects my life though. No, I don't. Not at all. I started stealing birth control pills from my cousins when I was 14 because I knew they contained estrogen. I wasn't stealing my mom birth control because I knew they contained estrogen. I was just eating them because they were good. They were like candy. My mom was like that with Little Mermaid. She used to buy me all the Little Mermaid book series and toys. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Little Mermaid. Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? What do you think my collection's gonna be? That was funny. My dysphoria was never major, but my aesthetic sensibility demanded my transition. Yes. Nothing about how I would have looked as a man felt authentic, so I made the change. Yes. Yes, Jess. That's how I was. I was like, once I knew what the goal was, once I knew it was possible, literally possible for me to live my life as a girl, as a woman, then it was no longer and that's how my brain is for about any goal that I have. Once the process has started for the goal, I'm not thinking about not being the goal. Like how do is that the right way to say it? If my goal is to be an author, I'm no longer, once I start the process of being an author, I'm no longer thinking, oh, I wish I was an author. Oh, I wish I had a book out. Oh gosh, it's so sad that I don't have my book created. Oh my God, I wish I had a book on the shelf for people to buy. No, I am thinking, I am writing my book. I'm in the process of it. No, it's not on the shelf, but I'm in the process. So I'm not dwelling on the negative. And so my transition was the same thing. Once I knew that it was possible, it was like, oh, well, this is what I'm going to do. So it solved whatever the tension was between me and the world, being a boy in the world, whatever that tension was, me going on the journey being trans solved it. I no longer felt like, now that I have a pathway to a goal, I no longer have that tension. It's still, you know what I'm saying? We have these issues, these gender issues, but I have a goal that I'm getting to. So I'm not even going to dwell on that. Oh, you're still calling me a boy? That's fine. Eventually, I'm going to be sickening, bitch. And this is what I'm going to do. And blah, 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 blah. For me, it was now I have a goal, and transitioning solved all of that. So I'm doing my thing. Yeah, it's just a simple process. It's like, oh, this is my puberty process. This is my puberty. This is my unique puberty. This is my, oh, okay. Now I know where I'm headed to. It's not I'm sitting in this confusion and sitting in this uncomfortable spot trying to figure things out. This was the solution. It was like, oh, I know why I'm not comfortable with this. Why none of this is making sense is because I'm supposed to be a girl. And then in previous, it wasn't about you know, it wasn't about how it was. It was just like, what is happening? Like, this doesn't match what I think. This doesn't match what I feel. But now that I know that this is possible, boom. I don't need to worry about me not matching. I'm about to match. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm about to match. And once I transitioned and started to the process, I started matching. But then again, I really cherish not having gotten any surgery when I got bodied. Maybe that's a sign of internalized transphobia. I don't know. I really feel skeevy about getting stuff done. Not me. you know, um, I would I would have a sex change if it had babies. The only reason why I don't have SRS or GRS or whatever y'all calling it, whatever the young kids is calling it nowadays. um, Gender reassignment surgery um, is because I think it's inadequate. It doesn't do what I need it to do. It just doesn't. Yeah, just having another hole don't do nothing for my spirits. It doesn't for me. It worked for everybody else, but I needed to do all the shit I needed to do. But I have a video called non-op, something I can't something about being non-op. Now I explain it. It just doesn't have the technology has not gotten to the place that I needed to be for that to be worth it for me. And so because I don't have any body dysmorphic or any type of I don't feel uncomfortable with my body, I'm probably gonna stick to what I am right now and enjoy that. Enjoy where I am. Yeah. Because no, I don't. No, I don't agree. I just thought this was funny. I thought this shirt would be funny. This is not a contradiction. This is just fun. It's a play on that and comics. This is Clark Kent, and this is Batman, of course. Clark Kent is, he's on the DL because he's hiding that he's a Superman. Boycott DL men. He is rich out here fighting crime behind a mask. Boycott these DL men. Yes. Just thought it would be funny, so I got it made. Yes. Bruce Wayne is Batman. Mm-hmm. The decision to become non-op, I believe, is the title of your video where you speak of. Yes, 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 yes. I want to wear a shirt that says trans girl and see the reactions. I have a Black Trans Lives Matter shirt that I wear sometimes, not really. And I have this one too. This is one of my favorites. Mother of Dragons. Y'all know what that means. And the connotation in our community, what that means. Trying to find these books for these people. Where can I watch this Beyonce thing so I can catch up? We didn't even talk about Beyonce. I'm gonna change the title of this. Yeah, we went all over the place. Um, you can watch it on Disney Plus though. Yes, that's where it's at. Um, I named my car Khaleesi. Yes, I think. Yeah, I think. I remember talking about men that only date trans women. Do you talk about non-black men only being attracted to black women? Did we talk about that? Did we talk about non-black men only being attracted to black women? Um, I don't know if we talked about it. I've talked about it before, but I don't know when. Um, anytime somebody is only, anytime you say I only do something, I only date this specific thing, that's rooted in something. It may not be something negative, It may not be necessarily racist. It may not necessarily be sexist. It may not necessarily be fetish, but I only date black women. It's hard for me to think that that's not rooted in something that might be problematic. And that's any demographic. Like you're not willing to explore nothing outside of that type. Nothing. I want to know, why is that? That's rooted in some type of fetishism. Something. That's when it gets, not necessarily that it's not healthy, because everybody, I think one thing about, I hate people who say that if you don't date trans women, or trans men or trans person, that you're transphobic. I hate that. I hate it. Hate it. One of the reasons why I hate that, or if you only date within your own race, you're racist, or look, our bedrooms are not the United States. You can be as discriminating, that's what consent is about. You can be as discriminating as you want to be with your body in your bedroom. I think that you can discriminate all you want with your body, with who you sleep with, who you are attracted to. Can that be rooted in racism? Yes. Can it be rooted in sexism? Yes. Can it be rooted in transphobia? Yes. It can. It can be rooted in all of that. But me not having access to your bedroom does not oppress me. It oppressed me out your damn bedroom, but it does not oppress me. I care about systematic and institutional systems that oppress me and harm me. Some racist white man not wanting to sleep with me because I'm black, I don't give a care. I don't give a fuck. Some cisgender dude that doesn't want to hook up with me because I'm trans, I don't give a fuck about him not wanting to hook up with me because I'm trans. I don't care. Great. I'm not wasting my time on you. I want to be attracted to people who are into what I am and who I am. I don't want to you don't want to date black people? Great. I don't want to date you because you don't like black people. I don't want to deal with anybody that isn't into me. I don't care what it's rooted in. But that root does not affect me systematically. You not wanting to fuck me does not affect me systematically. That's what I want to change. That's what I care about. I'm not gonna sit here and try to convince a cishet nigga, oh, I don't date trans women. That ain't my thing. Oh, you're transphobic. I'm just like cis women. How dare you? I'm not gonna spend my time convincing him that I'm a woman. I don't care. No. You got me fucked up. I'm not spending my time doing that. If whatever reason you don't see me as a woman enough to not want to sleep with me or not want to date me, that's just what it is. I don't care. I'm discriminating. I don't date white men. I'm probably not going to start. That may be rooted in some type of racism or some defensive prejudice. I just can't deal with them. I can't deal with them because of their level of complacency, their level of privilege, their level of I just can't deal with them. So I'm probably not gonna ever date a white man. No, I'm probably not. But it doesn't harm people. If for example, some trans men, if you don't want to date a trans man, Oh, you don't think of me as a man, so you have some internalized transphobia. What if I just don't want to deal with two trans people being in this scenario? What if I just don't want to deal with it? I don't have the right to choose. Like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with your dysphoria at all. I don't want to deal with it. Is that wrong? You're a pre-op. I like vagina. If you're a pre-op trans woman with a penis, if I don't want to deal with that, I have the right to say I don't want to deal with it. I don't understand. When we talk about consent, people can be discriminating as they want to be. I should have the right to not want to deal with you for whatever reason. I don't know. It feels weird that we're trying to when we talk about systems, yes. If you're trying to stop me from coming to this job, if you're trying to stop me from getting health care, absolutely. Yes. Because bitch, you got me fucked up. You trying to stop me from getting the service. You trying to stop making, you don't want to make my cake because it's a trans cake. Yes. I think those are the fights that we can fight, that we should be fighting. But when we're talking about somebody not wanting to sleep with you, not wanting to date you, and we want to call them transphobic, child, get out of here. I think they have a right to be discriminating as they want to be in their bedroom. I think it's weird. I think that's weird and desperate and thirsty and like, why the fuck am I trying to convince this man that don't want to fuck with me? What kind of low self-esteem do I need to have to waste my time on analyzing his thought pattern and why he don't want to fuck with me? Bitch, you got me fucked up. You don't want to fuck with me, that's your loss. Get the fuck out of here. I'm just not doing that. There was a black man on Twitter going off about how white escorts won't see him. Yet, ironically, he probably colorless to black women. Probably so. Hope said men who don't date trans women are transphobic, but said she doesn't date trans men because she likes how cis men smell. What? Weirdo. What? Folks, this how you know that's bullshit. You want people to accept your womanhood, but you don't want to accept their manhood. That's and you calling them people that's discriminating against you transphobic, but you don't want to accept it in yourself. So you want to blame it on, oh, they have a different smell. Get the fuck out of here. Just say, honey, just admit it. You can say I don't date trans men. You can say that and not be and that'd be okay because you're not forced to mess with them. You can be your bed is not the United States. There is no constitution. You are the dictator. It is a fascist regime in your bedroom. You get to say who can be there, who you want to be there, how you want them to show up there. You get to be discriminating as you want to be. So stop trying to be fake. But you feel when they pop you with, oh, I don't want to be a trans woman, you can't accept it. So you want to say transphobia. Get the fuck out of here. No, they just don't want to fuck with you. Get over it. Go fuck with the niggas that do want to fuck with you. Go fuck with them. I don't care if you're transphobic. I don't care. Oh well, you're transphobic, great. You don't want to fuck with me, great. I don't want to be with no nigga that don't want to fuck with me. I want you to be enthusiastic. When I plop this dick in your mouth, I want you to love it. I want you to be, I want you to eat it up. I don't want you to be questioning, I don't know if I'm a like that. Oh, that ain't really my thing. I'm not trying to convince no nigga that trans women are the best thing on this fucking earth. Fuck out of here. If you don't already believe it, deuces. I've heard about every black escort not wanting to see black men, but that's not about racist. That's about black men trying to rob you, Nick being broke and fucking nickel and diming you, wasting your time, showing up, trying to get you to have sex with them for free. All the bullshit that the drama that they come with. And so, and you don't date them. That's not really about. That's not. It's about race. I don't want to say it's not about race, but it's the drama that comes with black men that you don't have to deal with white men. They think black girls have big dicks. I don't know what you talk about. What y'all talk about? Where'd that come from? A white guy told me that he wasn't interested in anything but black trans women. I asked him why not white women. He couldn't give me an answer. Okay, Ari was answering that. They think all black girls have big dicks. Yes. There's a reason why they hooking up with black trans women. Yes. um, Nowadays, you don't have to convince. Yeah, you gotta convince their ass. Fuck out of here. And I'm not. Back in the day when I was in high school, but when you get motherfuckers that ain't never messed around before, they're not doing shit to please you. It's all about pleasing them. Like it's all about doing what they want to turn them out. When I got older, I wanted to get pleased. And niggas that just start messing around ain't trying to please you. They trying to get their dick sucked and trying to fuck you. Stick their dick in your butt. They ain't trying to do nothing else. And so if I'm trying to be pleased and how I get my pleasure is I bottom and I get head. Those are my things. If you're not trying to do all of that, I'm not getting my pleasure. So what the fuck? I'm not fucking spending my time. It's no longer okay as a adult person with sexual needs that centers myself. In my younger years, I was centering men. I'm not centering men anymore. I'm centering my own personal pleasure. And in that process, I can't be with a new motherfucker. Now, if you knew and you trying everything because you knew, great. And you exploring everything that I want you to explore, yes, I can deal with you. But niggas that I used to turn out, they wouldn't want to do anything. And I don't fuck with that no more. And plus, I don't need that validation anymore. It used to be validating. It used to be like, ooh, I'm so real. I can turn him out. I'm so real. No, I'm not into that shit no more. That's not my ministry. That's old. Sit there for the young girls who need it. It really makes trans women look desperate for genuinely heterosexual men. As a trans man, we are not painted that way. Explain that a little bit, Bob Duckin. It really makes trans women look desperate for genuinely heterosexual men. I don't understand that statement. Retype that or something. Use some different punctuation. Trans men, as a trans man, we are not painted that way. It's something. I don't know. Retype that. They say the black men are cheap and abusive. They are. It's not all of them, but in the client world, they play a lot of games. Now there's some that is just regular clients. Now me, when I was an escort, I would be broke if I didn't deal with black men. I don't know if it was, I don't know what it was, but I had to have black clients or I would be broke. White niggas, they was coming, but it wasn't like black dudes. White dudes just came without the drama. They just came with their money with no tea. But they financially more privileged than black men. So of course. Yes. Hope said that, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm sure she did. I do think it's weird when people are super vocal about what they don't like. See, I like that. I like people to be upfront about what they do and don't like. Because if I don't fit that, I can be gone. No black clients under 45 for me. Real talk. If I push his head down below and he hesitant, it's time to go. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't even, that, before we even get to the bedroom, that has already been negotiated. Like I already know you're into what I like because I done talked about it. And that's why Bob, when you think it's weird that people are super vocal about what they don't or do like, I have to get that out of the way because I don't want to get into a space where we're in the bedroom and we're figuring out that we don't like to do what each other like to do. I like to know what's up. Because then that avoid that awkward space. If I trans men are not made out to look desperate for straight women. Hmm. Yet trans women are being vocal about it online. Obviously, talking one on one is different. This is an interesting conversation that may be problematic. Let me say this. One of the privileges that I see with trans men is because of the fluidity that women are allowed to have in a patriarchal world, trans men always have a boo. They always have a cis woman that is transitioning with them, that is dating them. Trans men always got a boo. They always got a cis woman that is like, boom. That I don't know too many trans men that transition that their woman leaves them once they transition. I've seen it, but I don't know too many. Usually they have a woman that transitions with them, that is in their life when they transition. Or when they transition, if they transition young before they in a relationship, they immediately get with a cis woman that has no issue with nothing. That I just it's something when girls transition and they have a gay boyfriend, usually that gay boyfriend leave them because you no longer are a man. And so you're a woman and I don't like women. So I leave you. But for some reason when queer women who date trans men, they don't leave y'all. They don't leave y'all. And y'all stay booed up. I posted a status about this other day. This trans man that I had a crush on, he was with this chick. He was with he when I met him, he was with her. I met him at BTAC. When I met him, he was with his girlfriend. So of course I didn't say nothing like that. But I was like, damn, he fine. She lucky to have him. But they but now they broke up. And so soon as I heard that they broke up, but I'm also not thirsty, so I'm not like, ooh, let me hurry up. And that's not really me. Soon as I think about, oh, I wonder what he's doing. I remember he broke up with his girlfriend. Baby, I go back and look, boot up again. they rarely are single for long periods of time. It's something. It's some type. When it comes to them and cis women, they don't. There is no the drought on the trans women side with men is non-existent with the trans men side with cis women. It's just that's a privilege that y'all have. And I think it's layered. I think there's a lot of reasons why that is. But one of the main reasons is that I think that is very little shame. The level of shame around a woman being with a trans man is nowhere near compared to the shame about a cis man being with a trans woman. I think it's two total different experiences. I think that I just think it's different. Yeah. I agree. Women are more emotionally attracted and attached than um, being a man would be. I get the attached part. I don't know necessarily about the attractive part. But yeah, I can see them being more emotionally attached than a man would be. Yes. These girls tend to want to fix a man, so they kind of tag along. And then cis niggas out here so trash, they probably like, well, since you used to be a woman, you can be better. Cause I know the trans girls in here. Y'all hear cis men say, you know, I think y'all are just better than cis women because y'all have a different understanding because y'all used to be one of us. They say shit like that all the time, and I know that cis women say it to trans men on some level. Oh, it's just because you used to be a woman, you you don't have you have a different understanding, and so you treat me in a different way. I know they have to say shit like that. mm, mm. And there's a level of I don't think it's not totally dishonest. I think that there's a level of I don't erase my history. I know that there's a level of understanding that I can have, but not to the way that they think. Like, oh, I lived as a man till I was 30 years old, so I understand. I was dating women. I remember when I used to fuck bitches. That is not my experience. That is not my experience, so I don't understand that at all, my nigga. Sorry. No. But there is boyhood. I remember my boyhood. I remember that stuff. But relationships. I ain't never been no relationship with no woman. I can't tell you nothing about that. Yeah, I think many cis girls think trans men have more emotional intelligence, and honestly, I think it's true. Child, then I don't know who. What trans men you know, but the ones I know, they don't always got emotional intelligence. Child, no. Some of them is trash. Some of them are great, but some of them are trash and childish and get on that testosterone and get to being real extra, real patriarchal, real abusive, real shady. Look at Sir Knight. They get, some of them is just no. And some of them are great. They want a bro. It's really weird. I'm not bonding with a guy about men stuff. Yes, VV Charles. If you're looking for a bro, honey, you barking up the wrong tree, honey. Because I am not looking for a homeboy. I'm looking for a husband. Child, you fuck out of here with that bullshit. Mm-mm. I hate when men say that shit, niggas. Y'all still a foreign species to me. Yes, totally. Yeah, we in too. We can reminisce about boyhood. There is some things that I remember about boyhood that we can reminisce about. Yes, there's some things. I remember when I used to play with Legos and He-Man stuff and boy toys and Hot Wheels and stuff like that. We can remember about stuff like that. But that's where it ends, boo boo. In my experience, they usually shocked how much of a woman I am as far as emotions and all that. Not with me. I'm more of a. I think if I was if my body matched my mind, I think that I would be a tomboy, bi-curious cisgender girl. Like if everything was aligned, I would be a tomboyish, bi-curious girl. So it would, yes. So I have a natural masculinity. I have a natural masculinity that I would be like a tomboy girl because I like stereotypical Tom, like Tom. Yeah, that's all I know. I would be. I know if I was a born and cis girl and my mom was the same, I would be a tomboyish girl. Um, Most of you were feminine boys. The experience is not the same. Yes, no, it's not the same, but there's some similarities. Um, I had and that's another thing. Like, I don't think I think we got to stop doing that. I'm more focused on what we have in common than what are different. I think it's more important if you're trying to build community with people. I think the problem, like cisgender women and trans women, the problem, or cisgender men and trans men, is they try to act like, oh, it's nothing. Oh, you don't know anything about being a woman because you don't have a period. You didn't grow up like we did, and da da da. Like literally, they are forcing themselves to think like there is nothing in common when it actually is. Like it's like we have nothing in common. It's nothing that you think as a trans woman that I can relate to you on as a cis woman. And only thing you can hold over our head is we can't have babies and can't have periods. That's it. So if you take that away, there's nothing in common. Sis, I really haven't had a problem with cis men accepting. Most of my friends are cis men. Okay. Well, that's good. I hear a lot of negative conversation from men talking about y'all. So, not saying that that couldn't be true with your own personal circle, but I know a lot of cis people, men and women, that don't think trans people are the gender that they say that they are. And so it would be hard for me to believe that you haven't run into any of them. I have had some that try to get with me, and there's that. Probably because they still think of you as a woman. I've heard that a lot from cis men, especially gay ones. Well, not just gay ones, but especially gay ones who trying to explore. Like my gay son says it all the time. He hooks up with trans men because they look like men, but they got pussies. And when I hear cis men talk about trans men, they always talk about it in that kind of disgusting, fetishy. Oh, they still got a pussy, so they a woman to me, which is gross and disgusting, but and transphobic. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying they all, but I also think that that's a thing of I don't know. I ain't gonna say that. I don't believe it's possible to be friends with men. Any man coming around me has sex on the agenda at some point, not true friendship. Um, Hmm. I think that's because you're young and pretty. I think I think that you are stereotypically pretty, Ari, and it's hard for men to get past that and not try you. Because I used to think that until I got older, and I would see. I don't have any male friends that are not gay, so my life still aligns with that. But I see folks who do have genuine male friendships. Yep, gross. Diamond, do you think Houston was more friendlier to LGBT than Indy, or is it the same? Houston is a bigger city. Houston is the one of the largest city in landmass, but in population is the fourth largest city in population. And there's a lot of trans culture here. There's a lot of LGBT culture here. So it's a lot of community. It's been here for a long time. And so it's just when you're in a city that has had the culture for years, it seems like it's more open. I can't really judge it because I was in indie when I was in you know earlier in my life. So I don't know. I can't really compare them two because I didn't have I had the same experience. It seemed I guess I got oh okay I guess I can say it's the same, but it's just a bigger culture of LGBT people here, much more infrastructure compared to Indianapolis. So it's just different. I don't know. Are you in Indy now? No, I'm not in Indy. I'm in Houston. Man, I need to catch up. Catch up. With who? Um, yes and no to that. I do have male friends, but many of them have tried it. I'm trying to think. I don't have any cis male friends that are in person. So I do have like I got some college buddies that I'm trying to think of. I have some college friends that they oh no, I can't say that they didn't try it. Ooh, yeah, because they didn't try it for a long time. I'm trying to think of one that I just think that's a part of men. They try it, but you can shut them down and they don't continue to try. Trying to think of. I have one that's not my family. So I have friends that are my family. Um, maybe, maybe, well, close friends. No, yeah, no, I don't have any cis close male friends that have not tried it. Yeah, yeah, no. You ever talk to the guy who bought you the woman dress? I talked to him once, but he wasn't my type, so I wasn't trying to continue the conversation. Oh, I cannot fit that dress. I can't fit that. I'm way bigger than that dress now. That dress is a size 10, baby. I am a 22. I cannot keep that thing on. I still have it just for sentimental purposes. Oh no. I am not a 22. I'm like a 20, 18, 20. Yeah, that was college body, baby. I cannot put that on. I could put it on then, and when I did that video, because I was still skinny. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I don't have any dude friends that are not. They're not gay that I could be friends with. Diamond, do you have any exes that you're able to be platonic friends with? I talked to one of my exes a couple of days ago. We talked about it on my last live. I think me and him can be platonic friends. But no, 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 no. Yeah, mostly no. One, Jonathan, I think we could be platonic friends, but the rest of them, no. Yes, it's fucked up now because it's growing out. But yes, I cut it myself. It's trash because I don't know how to cut hair. But yeah, I think he's a diamond collar. Call me back, honey. Um, do you ever plan on getting back the smile of? Do you ever plan on getting back that smile, or expecting the wide age spread for the auntie effect? I have no interest in getting smaller. Yeah, I don't have enough. As long as I'm eating healthy, I'm good. I want my eating habits to be healthier. But as far as like trying to get small, no. They require a lot of attention. I find it exhausting mentally and emotionally when it comes to cisgender men. They require a lot of attention. I think humans require a lot of attention. I think most humans, when you are in relationships with them, shit, sometimes friendships require a lot of attention. And I think into any kind of interpersonal relationship with people, you got to invest. You either don't want to invest that time or you just got to. And so I don't think that that's necessarily cis men, but yeah, if you're trying to build any type of relationship with anybody, woman, trans man, trans woman, cis man, gay man, whatever, human, whatever human. What do you think about the Billy Porter and Pose drama? I think I talked about this on two lives ago, but I think that um, Billy Porter is being unfairly railroaded about a video that he did for winning for season one. That video is not about season two. So them being shaded for season two, that video is not about that in season one. So the video where he has the hat and what he said in that video was about season one. In my opinion of season one is that Billy Porter in his acting carried the show in season one. I've said this multiple times. I will continue to say it because that's my opinion about the acting. The first season was not great as far as the trans actors on the show. That's my opinion. It was not great. I think Billy Porter, his acting carried the first season. The girls stepped up in season 2. So when we talk about them being snubbed on this year's Emmys, I thought it was shady. They should have gotten some type of nomination because those girls stepped up their acting in season 2. But when Billy Porter won, when that reporter asked him that messy question, because that question on that year, I feel it was messy. It was his moment. He earned that award. Those girls did not step up in season 1 in the acting department, but they were brand new. So I expected them to grow. For me, season one, I don't think that they deserved it more than Billy Porter. I think Billy Porter deserved the Emmy, that particular, or was it a Golden Globe? Whatever that award he was getting, that season, he deserved it because his acting carried the show. Season 2, this year, they got snubbed, unfairly snubbed, because they deserve to get a nomination. Blanca stepped it up. Candy stepped it up in season 1. They really stepped up their acting chops in Steve stepped it up from season 1. They really stepped up their acting chops in season 2. So they should have got some kind of nomination. The video that's going around with Billy Porter saying what he said, that was from season 1. And I think him saying that was appropriate. I'm winning because I deserved it. He didn't say this, but in my mind, he won that award. He deserved it. And so you being messy and asking this question about the girls being snubbed, I thought it was messy. I thought it would put them in direct competition because you're being messy at this award show when I just won an award. I think it was inappropriate. His statement was, I think he didn't prepare for that question. And so could he have said it another way? Could he have answered in another way? Yes. But he said, we're in the building now. We're in the building. That's not enough. But now next year they can step it up and be able to. Now they have their time. But for me, I felt it was messy. I don't fault him for saying what he said last year, because he carried that motherfucking show in season 1 and he should have won, and he did. And you come and asking him, well, the trans girls were snubbed. What do you feel about that? You're being messy. You're being messy. You should have let him. This is his moment to enjoy his win that he deserved. Let him do that. That question should be asked this year. Why were they being snubbed? Because it is appropriate this year to ask. They did not deserve to win an Emmy on the first season. I don't care what nobody say. That's my opinion. I can have it. They did not deserve an Emmy on the first season. I'm sorry. They just didn't. It wasn't. The storylines were great. I love the show. I promote it. I love it. I'm going to continue to promote it. But that first season was not good acting. I'm sorry. It just wasn't. It wasn't. For me. For my personal taste. And he carried the show. He's the one who had the experience. Literally. He's the one who had the experience, and it showed. It showed. It showed. Now, season 2, they stepped it up. Was it great? I loved it. Who do you think the strongest girl is in the cast? Actually, I think Angelica Ross is the strongest one, but they killed her off. But if I have to just say overall, I would say Blanca. I would say MJ. I think MJ stepped it up. I think MJ, even in the first season, the scene with her and the teacher at the table, Medea. The scene with the teacher, And Blanca, when she was trying to convince him to convince her to get Damon into the school, look, like that scene was powerful. I loved it. But throughout that was the only thing. As far as moving me with their acting, I can't remember a scene that I was more attached to other than that one on the first show. I can't remember a scene that I was just moved by. Um, yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I didn't. I just don't think it wasn't. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for my acting. Wasn't for my taste. It wasn't up to my taste in the first season. I really feel they really stepped it up in season two. The Candy episode, the Poppy and Angels. Poppy really carried some stuff. I like Poppy's. I got emotional with Poppy's scenes with Angel. I really don't like when Angel cries. It's something about when she cries that seems fake and contrived. When India cries, it just seems weird and not. It doesn't translate to me. When she cries, it's like, oh, well. Who else? I don't think Lulu has been able to get enough scenes or development for me to see her acting, but I didn't like it in that Candy scene. Um, I thought, yeah, I'm sorry. Season two was the bomb. I think they deserved a nomination. A win, nomination, yes. I love Damon. He's my favorite character. I'm trying to think of my favorite character. I don't know. My favorite character scenarios would be Angel. I loved the scenario with Patty, with the wife, with Stan. I thought that was see with Pose. I relate to the stories. It's not because I relate so much to the stories. It's not hard. The acting don't need to be great for me to feel the stories. Um, but I just wish that there was the scenes were played out better. Yeah, I love Angel. I see myself in that character the most. Yeah, I don't see myself in. I see myself in Blanca the most, but I'm very motherly. I see myself in Blanca. Shit, I see myself in a lot of the motherfuckers. Blanca, um, but mostly Blanca. I wanted the Stan story to continue in season two. I see myself in Pray Tell. Um, whatever Pray Tell and Blanca, if you combine Candy, Pray Tell, and Blanca, I feel that, and maybe a little bit of Damon. Yeah, I don't need another Stan. I didn't need any more Stan. I think that there is a. Oh, that's a perfect example. We're almost damn. We almost at 3 hours. Um, there's a when you're creating storylines, there is a authenticity and a fantasy. The balance of authenticity and fantasy that is happening. A balancing of those two. So you want to be authentic. You want to show some real stuff, but because it's being created, there's a fantasy happening. Like think about Patty and Angel and sitting down having coffee in a restaurant to get their shit out. How many trans girls do you know have been in that situation? Very few. Very, very few. I don't know any. Yeah, do she call you and say, "Are you messing with my man?" And is he gay? Yeah, you probably get that. But I'm talking about a sit down, civil conversation. Let's meet up at a restaurant. How many times did that happen? I think it's an amazing scenario to explore in the fantasy of the situation, but that don't really happen in real life. That don't really happen. Hmm. I need more Chubby and Lamar. I do not. We already have Damon and Ricky. If we want to explore the queer man storyline, we already have them. I don't need any more elevating to an important role. No, thank you. I see myself in Damon. Um, Being realistic, a man is not going to leave his wife and kids for a trans girl. I've actually seen that happen. What you're saying is true in the norm, but I've actually seen it happen. I can't say that that never happens because I've actually seen it happen. But yeah, usually he's not leaving his wife and kids for a trans girl. Um, Him leaving her life was very real. Yes, definitely. That's more realistic. Um, Hell no, yes, right. But the heart is the heart. Exactly. Oh no. Yes. Woo! Especially back in the 80s and the 90s. Oh no, them was some. If a girl could get through, those were some. It was some witchy times. Remember that dude who that movie was made after the one that robbed the bank. Blah, 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 blah. Why am I tongue tied? Robbed the bank to um to get that girl sex change back in the 70s, Edinburgh or whatever. What is her name? Yes, Elizabeth Eden. His name is John Wojciechowicz or whatever. He was in a relationship with a trans woman, and he attempted to rob the bank to get her sex change. Her name, the trans woman's name is Elizabeth Eden, and the guy's name is John. Can I see that? Yeah, Elizabeth Eden and John such and such. It was a movie made out of it. I never watched the movie, but and he was cute. That was the gag too. He was cute too. I was like, oh, he's a cute white boy. He wasn't even no ugly one. I was like, he's cute. But yes, he left his wife. He left her for her. hmm Robbing for the girls, right? My kind of man, down for whatever. Show me you love me, honey. They don't make them like that no more. They do not make them like that no more. But yes, y'all, I think we've been on here long enough. Do. Make sure you thumbs up and yeah, subscribe. What else? Would you give him a chance, Diamond? No. I don't no, mm, I don't like white men. White men are like red cars. Like you can see them and you're like, oh, that's a badass car. Yeah, swear it out. But I don't want to fuck the car. That's what I think about cute white men. I'm like, oh, he's cute. Um, that's what it is. So if I, and like I said, I'm not an absolute person, but it would be hard for a dude that is white to woo me. I'm gonna always be like, yeah, I can't deal with it. But all right, y'all. Let's talk next week. I will see y'all next Friday. Be good.